Hi, my name is Elizabeth Picking. I'm the livestock specialist with the University of Missouri Extension, and today I'm going to talk about body condition scoring horses. So when we think about body condition score on our horses, we have to think about first the job that they're going to do. Are they a broodmare gestating foals, or are they a performance horse, or are they an occasional riding pleasure type horse? And all of those will kind of play into what condition that they need to be in. Now, when we think about a body condition score for horses, it is a 1 to 9 scale, with 1 being extremely thin and 9 being very obese. So on a 1 to 9 scale, we would like horses to be in an ideal 5 to 6 range, with broodmares being a little more acceptable to be on the high side of that. So when we think about evaluating a body condition score on horses, we can get an idea by looking at a group of horses in a pasture from far away, but we really need to get our hands on the horses in order to get a good measure. River's going to be our horse model today, and when we evaluate body condition score, we want to start with the neck, go over the top of the neck and feel firmly with your hands and see, do I feel just muscle? Do I feel added fat cover? Is there any jiggliness? If I move my hand back and forth, that's an indication that a horse is in a higher body condition score. Then we will move to right behind the shoulder. If we look at where the shoulder ends on this horse, we want to see a smooth appearance. We don't want to see a big bulge of fat behind the shoulder. That's an indication that a horse is over-conditioned. But then on the same side, we don't want to see a crease and a divot behind the shoulder. Now, then we want to move to looking at condition across the withers and the top line. The withers should appear smooth, but you should be able to see that they have a wither bone, as opposed to it being very smooth and maybe mutton withered of sorts. And so we don't want to see a big depression right behind where the scapula ends here. We want it to be fairly smooth and smooth across to the hip. We want to make sure that we can't see any backbone. That would indicate that a horse is thin. But we also don't want to see a crease down the back. That also indicates that a horse is over-conditioned. And then we want to look at condition over the ribs. Now, most people can figure out that if a horse is ribby, you can see the ribs visually, they're probably thin. You're looking at something that's probably a 4.5 or lower at that point, depending on the severity of how much ribs you can see. But if the horse is in a good body condition score or higher, you wouldn't be able to see the ribs. So at about a body condition score 5, you won't be able to see the ribs, but you will be able to feel the ribs if you press firmly as you go across his ribs. This guy, I can't really feel much of the ribs when I go across him. So that tells me he's maybe closer to a 5.5 or a 6. And then the last place we want to look at body condition is here around the tail head. If a horse is over-conditioned, they will have big pockets of fat on either side of the tail head. He has some fat here, which tells me he's more than a body condition score 5, but he's not at so high as a 7 or an 8. But if a horse was in a lower body condition or did not have much fat covering, they might have kind of a depression or a drop off, so to speak, here across the croup. So when we think about condition, we have to think about condition over time. And when we should condition throughout the year on our individual horses. And keeping up with that is important to manage your horses and know that your feeding program is adequate or potentially too much. Oftentimes horse owners tend to think that fatter is better, which ultimately can lead to some joint problems and that sort of thing. So we'd usually like to body condition score maybe at the end of summer or in the early fall, because if we see a horse is a little thinner than we'd like, then we have time in the fall with some of that fall growth to add some weight before we get into winter, where they've got increased energy demands due to the cold weather. And then another good time to body condition score is the end of winter and kind of early spring. If our horses are over conditioned or on the high side, maybe they're at a 6 already, or they have some pre-existing conditions or prone to founder, that's when we really want to make sure, okay, can they withstand very much grazing with the lush spring grass? Or are they already in a high enough condition that we need to limit that? And then, or is this a time that we need to get them to gain weight because they're a little bit thin coming out of winter? So I hope that this helps kind of clear up how to body condition score your horse. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. My name is Elizabeth Picking. I work for the University of Missouri Extension in Howe County. Thank you for watching.